time for another update on the garden. It's very definitely spring now, so everything is growing madly. My passion fruit vine there, I've trimmed that all back, and I was a bit worried I might have gone a bit too far, but the new growth is just starting to appear, which is good. Over here we have a little, this is just one of those cheap plastic greenhouses from the warehouse, I think it was. But it's working really well for propagating little plants and seedlings. So we've got things there that are getting ready to plant. You can see there the asparagus is doing incredibly well. We're letting it go to fern for the first couple of seasons, and then I think it's the next year we'll be able to start actually picking some of it. Fruit trees, of course, that grapefruit is starting to take off. This one, I think it's a mandarin. I'm picking the buds off that one. I want to leave it another year before I let it start flowering. So I come out and anytime I see buds there, I pick them off. We've got leeks there. We've put in potatoes, which is what's in that trench. So apparently to get a good crop out of them, you keep piling dirt around them as they grow, and that's what that big pile of earth in the middle is for. So once they start coming up, we'll start covering them over with some more dirt, and hopefully it means you get more out of them. There's various things planted in here, lettuces and radishes and bits and pieces. There's a tomato there. Last year I was a bit naughty with one of the tomato plants and didn't really prune it or take care of it. It just turned into a massive overgrown bush. So we're trying to be a bit more proactive this year, and we have removed some of the laterals, I think they're called, and we'll try and keep a bit more of an eye on the thing. Got a corner over here which is just going to be flowers, so there's going to be lots of flowers around, so there's lots of bees and things for pollinating. Down along here, these were all daffodils. Let's see. The other citrus trees are doing well. This is a lime tree, and we actually did get limes off it this year, which was a bit of a surprise. But you can see, I don't know if it focuses, there's some little limes in there. But I had, I think, 3 or 4 decent sized nice limes off it. This was the lemon tree that was here when we moved in. We get lots of lemons on that, which is very handy for your gin and tonics. This garden was sort of here when we moved in with all this, I think it's lavender, can't remember. But these succulents, some of these were moved from my old house, I think. They all seem to be doing quite well. The avocado tree behind the windbreak. Lettuces, more lettuces. We've got peas and things we want to grow up over these hoops. More lettuce. The strawberries are starting to grow again. There's a sweet pea, I think. So that'll be trained to go up and over the arch. They're just cheap arches again. Don't know how long they're going to last. They'll probably rust to bits in a couple of years, but that's okay. Down there we've got a cauliflower, which is kind of turning purple. Not sure what that means. Giant cabbage. I think we're just letting that one go just to see how big it gets. So it's already getting quite large. There's another collie there, or another one over the back. I think that might be a potato in there. Various other flowers and things. This is a bit tricky with one hand. While I sort out the gate. So everything's growing well along here. That rose probably needs to be, that end probably needs to be pinned up a bit more, I guess, tied up. Let's see, down this corner, this kind of, it's sort of a plum tree. You do get little kind of plums on it, but it's not like a real plum tree. So after it's done its growing this season, we're actually going to trim one of those branches off there and make a walkway through there. I've actually got a chainsaw now, so I can do things like that. I haven't even tried using this chainsaw yet, actually. Haven't come across anything I need to cut up. This, I think there's a currant or something in there. There's lots of little corners in the garden which are quite handy for piling stuff up in. We finally moved the big pile of Barky and compost that was here last time. Our Joas are coming along. They always seem to be really slow. They seem to take a long time, I think. But looks like they're going to flower soon. There was poppies, well, there are poppies still. And here, it's really quite nice at the moment with all the flowers. And eventually, when things grow up a bit, we'll have more little seating areas. Let's see. It's one of the steel cage things we got. So there'll be things growing up inside of those. More flowers. There was a big plant growing here. It turns out it was some sort of weed. So we've just been fiddling with this weekend. There's actually a piece of rebar going down through the middle of those pots, and the pots are sitting on it. That was an op-shop find, the little bird bath, so we've put that there. Just playing with the drift fluid, seeing how we're going to do that. There's lots more flowers in here. So you can see how we've left little areas for seating. This is the weird Sapote Tree. Very fickle apparently. Something a bit, I wonder if it got a bit of frost damage or something on the edges of the leaves. We did have one slight cold snap a week or two ago. Hopefully that was the last of it. So various fruit trees and things in there. She did put in a little path here just so you can get into the middle of the garden a bit more easily. Another nice poppy there. Nice sort of pink one. This I've just put in this weekend, so I'm going to make a little signpost, a sort of garden signpost. So I did dig the first hole there and then realised because it's not very tall, people walking past are going to poke their eyes out on the sign. So still figuring out what actual signs we'll have, but we'll figure that out. I need to figure out what the typeface used on the AA style signs. People in New Zealand will know what those look like, the sort of yellow informational type signs that the AA put up. That's Automobile Association, not Alcoholics Anonymous. Let's see, another little bird bath thing sitting on a piece of wood. We went for a drive today down to the beach. We're very fortunate, we live 5 minutes drive from the beach. It's just down the road, and it's a very stony and very rocky, rough sort of beach, so there's no end of driftwood and interesting rocks and bits and pieces, and I always hunt for bits of bone that wash up. I've got my little boneyard there. This is the little orchard garden. This is one of the plum trees. You can see it's definitely spring. That's going very well. More flowers. Yes, so here's one of these things in the middle of the metal rings. This is the other plum tree, also going well. So we're trying to train the branches so that they come up and they bend out, so that when the tree gets bigger, the branches are kind of sticking out more horizontally, so it makes it easier to get the fruit off them. You can see that this this little garden is just full of flowers, which is pretty cool. You actually have to remember to stop and actually wander around and look at them. So I often forget to take the time, and then you come out and like now I'm just seeing things that I had not noticed before. So, lots of flowers in there, lots of blue. There's lots of bees around, lots of insects. I've noticed lots of bumblebees lately. Are these lilies, I think? Dad would know. This is another one of the fruit trees. I keep forgetting what they all are, but this one I think might be the apple. I'm sure there'll be comments left. There's, oh, another one, and there's fruit on that, which I've not noticed before. Can't see the sign. And then this one as well. And then over here, my grapes. So last year this vine didn't really get any fruit on it, but it seems to be going a bit better this year. It sort of sprouted at the same time. This one as well, I did actually get grapes off it, but I made the mistake of leaving them too low, and the birds got a lot of them. They'd just sit on the ground and eat the grapes. Get out of the way. So I've looked up how you're supposed to prune these things and how you kind of train them to have the right numbers of things. I can't remember what those are called, the sort of shoots that go off to the side, and how you train them to go across, which is kind of what I'm trying to do now. So this is just growing so fast. I've had to come out twice in the last week to add extra ties to it, just because it's going so well. Let's see. Down along here. Oh, this will be the cat's lair. Oh yes, there's one of them. Hello, Jasper. Jasper, my nemesis. Everything's growing here. Apparently I mention this corner of hidden junk every time I make a film, so I better do it again. Oh, there's another one of the cats. Hello, Georgie. Oh, I think he's pretending to be a lion. Or he's just going to eat some grass. Hard to tell. They're not the brightest animals in the world, these ones. I should probably think about ordering some more firewood. There was sand all around the bottom of Humpty before, and a lot of that was washing away, so we've put down some Barky and some grasses just to build up around there. That tree, I should probably pull that out. We had another one of those that was growing up behind Big Shed, and within a year or two it just got huge. They grow really fast, but you can see there's a lot of bees around that. This is the little shade garden with some ferns. You can see that's growing quite nicely. These are swan plants for monarch butterflies. I have seen a few butterflies around. A little grass garden. Go up along here. This is that tree I was talking about. You can see how big it got just within the time we were here. So I sort of pulled it up. So this will be to grow pumpkins along. Got the bags there, and straw bales, more flowers for bees, pollinators. This was the apricot tree, and this has got fruit on it as well, so that's doing well. And down here, that was my chili, which was very hot, so hopefully we get more off that. Just another little garden with some flowers. So the soil here was all built up. I think they built it up with sort of hard fill type stuff, so these plants they put in, most of them are dying. You can see the odd one does really well, and the other ones have sort of died. And where they've died, that's kind of where we're putting the path in. Let's see. This is the walnut tree, old nutty as I call them. That's getting buds on it as well, and this will be another pumpkin or squash or something like that. And eventually we will get rid of one of those trees, or two of those trees. Although they look quite pretty now with the sort of purple flowers. They look quite nice in the sunset, because you'll see the sky behind them all red, and you see the red with the blue and purple flowers. But you can see how this ornamental plum, or whatever it is, if we take off that branch, you might be able to see, then we can make a sort of pathway through there, which would be good. And I think that's really it for now. Oh, I missed a couple of little pieces. These are out in front of Big Shed, and these are two oak trees. I think it's just over 2 years now since my friend Mike died, and one of my visits up to Auckland, he had a giant oak tree in his back garden, and I grabbed some of the acorns from it. But I also grabbed some acorns from the Auckland Domain, and if anyone's been to the Auckland Domain, they'll know that there's quite a few big oak trees there. So I planted the acorns, and this is what came up, and I don't know which ones are Mike's oaks and which ones are from the Domain. I guess there's probably no way to ever find out now. I think next time I go to the Domain, maybe I can check the oak trees there and see what style leaves they have. I'm not sure if these are both the same, or what the story is with them really, but that's what those are there. Little memorial to my friend Mike. I forgot about this garden, our little courtyard. So we have a rose bush there, and this was the olive tree, which seems to be doing well. And those are bags of sand, because you can see we've been collecting a lot of pumice. So this all comes from the beach, of course. Pumice is very light, so it'll float. It's volcanic rock. And what I'm actually going to do is, we've got this copper kettle thing. I'm going to turn that into a little fire garden. So basically you run a copper loop around the bottom with holes in it, and you hook it up to a gas bottle, and you fill it up with the sand, and the gas comes through the sand, and you can light it on the surface of the sand and draw patterns, and it's just sort of a little ornament, or a little garden type thing. That would be quite heavy if it was completely filled with sand, so I figured, well, since we're near a beach that has an abundance of pumice, every time we go there we pick up the different bits and pieces of it. We collect as much as we can, and I'm actually going to fill it mainly with that. and then use the sand to fill in the gaps. So not sure how much more I'm going to need. Quite a bit more, I think. So that's on my list of things to make. And got the little, well, it's not quite a pond, I guess it's a wine barrel water feature, but that seems to be doing well. I don't think it seals very well near the top, near where it's been cut, which is why the water level is quite low, but when it rains it definitely fills up. Another little bird bath there, and we'll just finish off looking at the hills. Must be almost time for the cows to come along for milking. You see them walk all the way along there to the to Faith's farm over there.